Alright, I'm gonna go through a finals preview and probably give my prediction later. But for this preview, I'm probably not gonna go through this game just because at the time Wemby was injured, so he was just coming back from recovery. And so he wasn't in the starting lineup. The rotations were kind of awkward, and that's why Cornette's here. And even Barnes, he was still in the starting five. And it actually wasn't until the 31st of December on New Year's Eve in their first regular meeting where Champagnie traded 11 times that game. That's when Barnes got the boot. Champagnie was in the starting five for the rest of the year. And even that game was kind of an outlier because he traded 11 times. They made a ridiculous comeback in the end. And the schemes were kind of different compared to the latest meeting in March because they still had OG on Wemby. And so they were doing what most teams are doing, cross-matching intentionally and putting a big guard/wing on Wemby. And in the March game, they actually didn't do that. They started matching up traditionally. So Karl was assigned to Wemby. And even in that New Year's Eve game, actually, Vassell was injured, and I'm pretty sure Josh Hart was too. So both teams weren't at their full strength. So there really isn't too much to take away from it. And so for those reasons, I think it's really a one-game sample size. And even though you can't get much out of it, there was still a lot that both teams had to exploit. And I think I'm going to start with what the Spurs are going to do. And this is a very obvious one. And I think we're going to see a lot of this, especially because Mitch Robb just broke his pinky and he's coming back from surgery. I think we're going to see a lot of pin downs. And this actually started in the NBA Cup game where he came in. I think he was playing with the second unit. Mitch Robb was obviously playing with that second unit. And I think one of the first plays for Wemby was a pin down. And it always involved Brunson because obviously they want to make it as difficult as possible. So if he does come off clean, Brunson's got a bump or he's forced to switch. And this was causing Mitch Robb a lot of problems. And really the Knicks, because what do? You're forcing Mitch Robb to navigate a pin down. He's going to get cleaned up. He does the right thing here. He chases over as hard as he can. Even here, Brunson, he does the right thing. He's going to step over, pretty much hedging. And when he's coming off clean and just punching that. And this was just one of many pin downs. So here, we've got another pin down. And this might have been the very next possession. Can't even really remember. But you can see how difficult it is for Mitch Robb to navigate a pin down. You can see he's trying to get attached, get on his high side so that he can shoot the gap. But he really doesn't know how to top block, I think. And that's why he just gets cleaned right here by Barnes. Again, we're using Barnes because Jalen Brunson was guarding him. And because Barnes isn't really getting that much burn now, it's probably going to be Champagnie in this situation because the Knicks have been assigning Brunson onto Champagnie. That's for obvious reasons because he's quote-unquote the non-threat. He's usually in the corner. So what does that mean? Brunson's going to be low man, pretty much staying out of as many actions as possible. And I know how the Spurs are going to exploit that, which I'll get to later. But right here, again, another pin down. Mitch Robb's out there. They're looking for it. And right here, he actually cheats under. What does that mean? He's going to cut back. Because he can't fight over and because Barnes is cleaning him up, he's forced to go under. Wemby reads it. He cuts back. He's looking to pull. But now he's in reaction mode. He knows it. So what does he do? Catch, pump, jab. Now you attack the closeout. And now you force the switch. Because right here, Barnes does the right thing. He's going to vacate, pop it. And now you get to attack Brunson. You kind of contain him. But then he finishes on that weak side with the reverse. And I think just based on the success they had, and this is only 2 plays out of, I think they ran this 5 times. I'm expecting to see a lot of this. Again, especially because Mitch Robb is also injured. So now we got a stagger for Wemby, not just a pin down, and not just Mitch Robb. They're also looking to bring Karl into the action, force him to navigate off ball screens. And right here, I think this is what we're going to see in the finals. OG on Fox, Mikal on Vassell, and Josh on Steph. But realistically, these three can just interchange, so it really doesn't matter which one of them they're defending, but I think this is going to remain consistent. Again, they want to put him on the most non-threatening player, quote-unquote. So Brunson's probably going to be on Champagnie a lot. So what does that mean for Champagnie? He's probably going to be involved in a lot of screening actions. Right here, he's off the stagger, but in the double drags we're going to see, the horns we're going to see, I think he's always going to be involved just because you always want to bring Brunson into it. Again, the reason the Knicks are doing this is because he's usually in a corner, so they think they can just get away with him being the low man, but they run a lot of screening actions and Champagnie knows how to. So I think we're going to see a lot of that. But right here, I can see, good job by Hart right here. He's going to back off, allow Karl to go under. Brunson doesn't really do the same. You can see he's a bit hugged. So when he's trying to shoot that gap, there's really no space. So Champagnie gets to clean him up right here. And now on his catch, because he was cheating, what does that mean? As soon as Wemby catches, quick turn, set your feet, face up, pull over top, quick midi. Even though he doesn't get to the rim, still a great look for him. And now it's the second unit, but the concept's the same. Bring Alvarado instead of Brunson because you just want to bring the smallest defender guarding the pin down. So right here, Fox, he's got him, he's going to set the pin down. And you can actually see Mitch Robb here. He's ready for it. So he's trying to get on Wemby's high side. But the issue here, he's not body to body. So Fox can just clean him up. He's got to get body to body so that he can skinny over. But because he's not, even though he was right here getting on Wemby's high side, he's not in a position to avoid the screen. And this is what I mean about bigs. They just don't know how to really navigate screens. That's 2 times, I think. Actually, every time I've seen him trying, he has not been able to top lock. So now you're cleaned up. What does that mean? Alvarado's now forced to take the rock. He's going to curl off tight. Nothing he can do. Even though he's there, just slips right around him. And you can see he's trying to bump him, allow him to recover, but if you go over, there's nothing you can do. What they can even do here is, instead of looking to chase over, have him get attached or have him bump, serve it as a hedge. So you hedge, allow Mitch Robb to go under 2, and meet Wemby right there. Right? So have him just try and jump out, reroute Wemby wide as a hedge, and then Mitch Robb can meet him. Because by doing this, if you're getting cleaned up, now you're behind the play, he's forced to pull in and try and bump him off his line for you to recover, but how is he supposed to recover here? So if you can't navigate the screen over, just go under 2 and serve it as a hedge. And another thing too, their low man has not been there every time. And that's pretty surprising because the Knicks are very good at shrinking the floor, which we will see. And maybe it's because they're just not that comfortable or used to guarding a big coming off a pin down. So he just doesn't really have his antennas up compared to when he's rolling off a ball screen, they have their antennas up because it's more obvious. So maybe this is something they're going to emphasize. So in the finals, we might be seeing, for instance, OG here. He's already pulled in at the restricted area to provide support. And now besides the pin downs for Wemby, I think we're going to see a lot of this right here. Horns, one of their favorite actions. Realistically, they're probably going to run a lot of 3-man actions, and they're very good at them. I've said this all year. So it's going to be either horns, double drag, or even Spain, even though they don't really run as many Spains now. Not sure why, actually. But because of the success they had running horns against the Thunder, I think we're going to see a lot of it against the Knicks too. Because the concept's the same anyway. And Wemby's able to get involved in it now because, as I've already said, I think the Knicks are going to stop cross-matching OG onto him, and they're going to match up traditionally. So Carl's going to be assigned to Wemby. So now he's able to get back into screening actions, because before, if it was OG, if he tried to set a screen, OG would just switch it and they blow it up. And obviously the reason they want to do that cross-match is because they don't want to allow him to just roll and all that. They don't want him in any screening actions. But because now they're going traditional and they can exploit Carl, now he can get back in screening actions. And then for Champagnie, obviously he wants to bring Brunson into it. So he's probably going to be involved in a lot of them, because they want to look to exploit either him trying to hedge or him being forced to concede a switch. And right here, he obviously has to concede the switch because he's out of position, too close to the center line, not ready to hedge or switch. So as he chases over, he can't recover. Now you're forced to, but now you're beat. You could actually see OG. He's going to pull in from the single side. Same time to kill. So we got two low man. And that's just a ridiculous play by OG. So he really saves 2 points. Yeah, that's nasty. And I don't even think he's low man here, because he's rotating from that single side. I'm pretty sure he's low man, so that you peel and then Brunson can just peel off to Vassell in that strong corner. But usually in these situations, the low man kind of gets distorted, because most times the low man's on that weak side, the opposite side to the ball. So naturally I think he thinks he's low man, but I actually think he is here. Because let's say Castle sees it and he actually makes that spray, there's no help for him, because he's with him. It'd be a cross-court close. So he actually should have sprayed here. But even here, he didn't even have to take this. If he were to take Wemby's line, let's say, I think the Knicks are going to have their bigs up or showing. So they're going to put two on the rock. So let's say he takes Wemby's ball screen. Hart chases over. Well, he shouldn't. He should actually go under. But he goes under. Carl's there. They got two on the rock. Wemby's going to release and slip out. I'm not sure if the Knicks are going to do what the Thunder did, where as Wemby's releasing and slipping out here on the roll, they were having their defender on Champagnie or Dill Harp, whoever the second screener was, they were having them high tag or high bump Wemby. And all Wemby had to do was just clean him up, because his role just served as a pin-in. So if you have two on the rock, he's rolling down middle, Brunson makes that tag, now there's a throwback available for Champagnie on this pop. And that was what was killing the Thunder. But with the Knicks, the way they shrink the floor, I think if they had two on the rock, which I'm going to assume they will, even though it's Wemby, I think they might have him stay attached and just trust their low man, because their low man is usually very good. Whether it's OG or him, even Brunson's very good at it. Honestly, all of them are, because they're always pulled in early. So it'd be interesting to see how they defend it if he were to take Wemby's ball screen. And now this is what I'm expecting right here. Traditional matchups. So instead of cross-matching and having OG matched up with Wemby, they're going to have Carl, or they're going to have Mitch Robb, whatever big they decide to play. So what does that mean for the Spurs? They can now use Wemby in screening actions again. Because again, when it was OG, the whole point of it was to just switch everything he was involved in. So if this was OG, as Stefan's turned the corner, OG would just switch onto Stefan. Brunson would switch onto Wemby to take away any roll. And if he tries a roll, Carl's there, he's low man, he would just pull in and help. So they would mitigate that size advantage with Carl here. But to me, I do like them going traditional just because they're so consistent with their low man in the way they tag and shrink the floor that even here, if when we were to roll, let's say Carl takes a rock and they put two, it would be a very difficult roll for Wemby just because you've got Hart pulling in and you've got OG. So you have a high tag and a low tag. But right here, obviously, because Brunson's chasing over, Karl doesn't have to commit. He can retreat with the roll. So you got 3 players taking away that roll. But this is somewhat of an issue that I'm seeing with Wemby. He's always looking to slip. Sometimes he just has to set a hard screen. Because let's say he cleans Brunson right here. He's not able to shoot over. That means Karl would have to take the rock. So you would force a veer. Now you get to slip. He can hit you in a pocket. Brunson would be trailing. You catch right here. And now you play your advantage. But right here, because you don't commit, because you don't set a hard ball screen, there's no advantage. He can't hit you because he's retreating with you. He's looking to recover, and they're already inside of the paint, ready to take it away. And even right here, McHale actually peels, because right here, Brunson, he's kind of behind. He looks to gamble. If he were to keep trying to recover, he would just get hostaged. So good recognition. He realizes, nope, you can't get back in front of him. I'll take. You peel off to the corner. So now they've contained it. Now you find him right in that pocket at the nail because he realizes he can't roll. So he's going to stop right there. A little bit awkward in terms of spacing, but you bite. They end up scoring here, but it's all because he bit on that pump. And he retreated because, they already contained the 2-man game. So he's thinking he can just get back to his man. And he has to 2-9 anyway. So he has to leave the paint. So that was just a KYP issue right here by Karl. And biting on that up fake. Because otherwise, they had it contained. And if this is all they're getting out of their 2-man game, which is a short jumper on a pop, semi-pop even, you live with it. Because he doesn't get to the rim, he doesn't get a lob or a roll to the rim. Now this is another action that I'm expecting to see a lot of from the Spurs. The double drag. Right here it's an away into a double drag, but this is what they want to get to right here. And again, look who's involved. It's going to be Champagnie and Wemby. A dangerous roll threat and a dangerous pop threat. And ideally, even though it's Diawara here, they definitely want to bring Brunson to the action. Because if Brunson were to hedge and redirect Dilharp back to McHale, then that would just open up an opportunity for Champagnie to slip out and get a flare from Wemby. So if Brunson tries to recover back, he would just get cleaned, skip over top. So he dribble this way and then throw that skip. Brunson will get cleaned and he would get a pretty good look from deep. But if Brunson were to try and hedge, and let's say he's late or can't get in front and contain the rock, now Dilharp would turn the corner, he would be chasing behind. That would then force Karl to make a decision. Do I help contain the rock or do I stay with the roll? Let's say he helps contain the rock and he's showing or he's up. That would then just open up the slip and the roll for Wemby. OG would have to take that away. But if they get the switch, and let's say they get nothing out of this double drag, so he rolls, but he's able to tag it, Karl can recover, Dilharp would at least have an advantage because he would have Brunson on the switch. So now all he'd have to do is just pull his dribble out, size him up, and take him off the dribble. So if they execute this well, most times they would probably find an advantage. And right here, they actually break down because McHale, he's looking to switch, and that's why he's communicating with Diawara. But I don't think he realizes he's supposed to switch. So he just doesn't know what his coverage is. Maybe because he doesn't defend this a lot, or these type of actions. And what does that mean? Now Karl's got to make a decision. Do I retreat with the roll, or do I help contain the rock because he's behind in the play? He kind of helps, and now Wemby has a great slip. And this is an opportunity to slip. So right here, this makes sense because he's behind the play. And now as he's turned the corner and you're rolling, they're both compromised. Now he's got inside positioning, but look at OG. And this is why I think the Knicks can just go traditional. Because their low man always has their antenna up. Or antennas up. So he's already pulled in. He's meeting Wemby in the middle of the paint. I'm pretty sure if he was any later, let's just say Wemby's right here, right at the restricted area, and he's got OG under the rim, he could still make that pass over top, even though it's not a lob. It would be a high catch, high finish. Wemby wouldn't have to bring the rock down. But because he's there early and taking away, there's no advantage for Wemby here, even though he had a great slip. So now what does that mean? You spray to the weak corner, they get to X, and they get a stop. But even here, it was pretty well executed. Because even though the Knicks do X in time, that's a pretty good look for Champagny. That's still makeable. And that's why I think they're going to go to this a lot too if it's not horns. Now it's a quick stack out, quick step up, get right to your two-man game. And I can already see Mikhail. He's already pulling in. So he sees what's transpiring. So he's there early. And at the same time, look at Landry. He reads it too. He's going to pull in. And now you got a high tag and then a low tag. So there's no roll or lob for Wemby here. And because those two just did their job on that backside, what does that mean? Now Carl can help contain the rock and help Josh here, because as Wemby's looking to slip, a little bit of a shove, try and get him behind the play, and instead of just looking to retreat with that roll line and being so concerned about the roll, he can just retreat with the rock and help contain it. So now he's kind of in that drop, stab at the ball, and allow Josh Hart to recover. And I can tell he doesn't really check where Wemby is. All he's focused on is helping Josh here, because he knows that Landry and Mikhail are going to do their job. And now you can get back to your man because you forced Fox to pick the rock up. Actually, I think Fox, he tries to go inside to cut off Josh's recovery line and then go for a sidestep right in that pocket. But they still contain it. You live with this because you took away the roll. He's now forced to settle for a jumper instead of getting to the rim. And for the Spurs, this is probably what they're going to see a lot of. So their counter has to be the skip to the weak corner and catch Mikhail in a two-way. Because if you see Mikhail pulling in, he's got to fire that right now. Because now he's making a two-way, and now he gets to attack the closeout. And it'd be a very hard closeout, because let's say he closes out, if he rips base, there's no help. If he goes middle, there would be help because Shamit, but that's what they have to look for if this is the coverage they're going to see. And now this is what I was talking about. We're going to see a lot of this, at least I assume. Champagny, Wemby, bring Brunson, bring Carl. And I like this too, because this is what they were doing to the Thunder. So right here, Fox, Hezzy, Cross, he's going to chase over, he's going to help contain the rock. At the same time, Wemby's going to look to slip and try and find a roll. And right here, that's going to force Brunson to make this high tag. And obviously we see the low man pulling in because high tag, low tag. And what the Thunder were having issue with was this high tag. Because most times when they were trying to bump Wemby, even Cornette, this roll was serving as a pin-in. So right here, Wemby could actually just clean up Brunson for trying to tag him, and that would open up him on the pop. So now you clean up Brunson, he hits him on that throwback, Brunson can't get out now. And that would force Mikhail, who wants to pull in, to try and rotate out from that weak side, but obviously he would be near that center line. So he couldn't get out either. He would be wide open. So I think because they had success with that against the Thunder, I wouldn't be surprised if they try running this and creating the same advantages against the Knicks. But right here, it's the weak corner. And that's also the right read because, again, look at Mikhail. He's always wanted to pull in early. Not even just Mikhail, whoever the low man is. But he threw this early too. So now you force Mikhail in a two-way because you're passing it as he's still in air once he lands, now he's going to make a two-way. He's always going to be late. And it's a disgusting finish off a rip base. Catch, rip. And I just got to go up strong. Up and under, too. Jeez. But I think this is why they're going to have to either exploit the weak corner or this pop. So if that's not there, hit that. But if that's not there, you can always find this because, again, you clean him up. If McHale's pulling in early, he can't shoot out to that. So now this possession is just to showcase just how ridiculous the Knicks scramble defense is. Because obviously there's a lot of moving parts. So right here on this weak side, Fox, he's setting a flare in transition for Wemby, catching Karl for naturally loading to the ball. Even here, McHale, he's ball watching. But then on the strong side, I can tell Champagnie probably set a quick drag, trying to get Stephon an early switch against Brunson. And that's why he's there, so he probably couldn't hedge. He slipped. Now Josh Hart, he's late to switch. So Champagnie's got inside positioning. At the same time, OG reads it, so he's ready to pull in. But then right there, again, as I've said before, Stephon is very good at reading the low man. So as soon as he sees OG pulling in to take away the pass over top on his slip, he just sprays that to the weak corner and catches OG in a two-way. Because now he takes that step, he's got to stop his momentum and try to shoot out. And now that causes a chain reaction. Two jump to the ball. And on this frame, the Spurs should get a good look on this possession. Because even right here, Wemby takes the flare. And he was actually going to flow into a quick ball screen for Vassell to come off. But because two jump from both sides, there's really no ball screen for him to attack. And he slips it. But right here, Karl, he goes under it. He's able to get back on Wemby. But still, they got an advantage because right here, two on the rock. He reads it. He's going to swing it up top. Swing, swing, swing. But look at OG. He's already taken away that ball reversal because as soon as Vassell gets off the rock, he already knows instead of overreacting to that, they're going to fully rotate. So Brunson, Josh, and he just has to get out to the corner. And because they just fully rotate, even without communication, he takes that away. But now McHale knows that OG's going to give a closeout. So what does that mean? Champagnie's probably going to attack it, and he does, and he goes middle. So what does that mean? Now Karl's going to help up. He's going to make that low rotation. So he's already in a position to help Karl and crack and take away any drop-off or lob to Wemby. So now Karl can help. You take that away, and even here, Josh, he does the right thing. Instead of just staying hugged to Stephon, he pulls in and stunts and forces an early pickup. Right? Because if he makes that spray to Stephon, you can live with it. Play your rotation still. But right here, they've got the rock contained. He's taking away the drop-off. And now Brunson's got to play two here. And what happens? He's in a position. He actually fans out to Vassell. And I think that's where Champagnie wanted to go because right here you can see he's looking towards it. But because now he sees Brunson at the same time fanning out to take away the spray to Vassell, he's now forced to spray to Fox, but it's last second, and it's a bad pass. But just the way they all did that on the fly was just ridiculous. Even here, McHale, he's loving it. All right, so now I'm going to go through the Knicks offense and what I'm expecting to see from the Spurs on defense. The obvious is going to be the cross-matching. So they're going to assign Wemby onto Hart and Castle onto Karl. And the reason for that is because obviously the Knicks want to use Karl as the hub for the screening actions. But by having Castle on him, now if he's ever the screener, they can just switch. So for example, if Karl were to set this ball screen, Castle would just switch onto Jalen, Fox would switch onto Karl, and then Wemby can just help on this mismatch because he can just cheat off of Hart. And now it forces Hart to be the screener. So now he's got to be the one that's doing all the screening, not Carl. And right here, I can see what Wemby's looking to do. Because he sees Josh looking to set this ball screen, he's trying to pre-switch with Stephon here. So he's telling him, yo, just take the ball screen. You can switch it with Fox. I'll just take Carl, and I'll get to stay low. But right here, I don't think Stephon realizes it, and he's pointing, no, you take the ball screen. And this is something that I think the Knicks have to exploit, because he's gotten very comfortable as a screener. Even the Cavs were doing this, where they were assigning Jarrett Allen onto him. And even throughout the regular, teams have been doing this. So he's very comfortable being a screener, and he can create a lot of 2-on-1s, because a lot of times the big, so Wemby in this case, he's so far off his body. This is a 2-on-1. So as long as he cleans up Fox and allows Brunson to get a clean look, they're fine.
Fox fighting over it.
But right here, obviously, he's not going to respect Hart. In this instance, he doesn't really have to overhelp here, because Brunson, he's stopping right in that pocket. But if he were to drive, obviously he would be there at the rim. Now this is an example of Josh Hart creating a 2-on-1. So right here, not sure what's happening here, but obviously he's going to set the ball screen. Look where Wemby is. He's all the way at the nail. So it's a 2-on-1. So again, as long as he cleans up Fox here, he's going to create open looks for Brunson. Now he's wide open because Wemby is just not in a position to help. And this is a dangerous shot, and one that I think the Knicks have that the Thunder didn't really have. A player that can come off a ball screen and pull from deep. In the Wolves series, the Spurs saw it from Ant. I think Drew Holiday might have been doing it for the Blazers. The Thunder didn't really have any player that could do it. But Brunson is very proficient, and giving up these looks are dangerous. So this is something I'm expecting to see the Knicks exploit. Now we've got Mitch Robb on the floor. So what does that mean? The Spurs are forced to match up traditionally. So we've got Wemby assigned to him, even with Josh on the floor. Because obviously if he has a smaller defender on him, or he's rolling with a switch, he's just going to eat up on the O boards, create second chance points. And the Spurs obviously don't want to do that. So whenever he's on the floor, it's most likely going to be either Wemby or Cornet, depending on the lineup. And right here, Fox, he goes under. So what does that mean? Brunson reads it, comes off, hezzy pull, Tracy. And again, with Mitch Robb out there, this is the shot that's going to be dangerous for the Spurs. Because most times, Wemby, he's probably going to be up, but he's not really going to help contain the rock, because he's concerned about Mitch Robb on the roll. Because let's say they put two on the rock and he's rolling down the middle, most times he's wide open for a cleanup, or he might get a lob. So he's really concerned about that. So whenever Mitch Robb is out there, I think they should get to their high ball screen and just exploit these shots. Now we've got Brunson pushing the rock, and look at Fox and Keldon. Neither one of them want to pick him up. They're both telling each other, yo, take him. But neither want to. Now Keldon's forced to. And look where Mitch Robb is. Quick drag. And look at Wemby. He's up, but he's not high enough. What does that mean? He turns a corner clean. And he trays. Again, I just don't know how the Spurs are going to defend this. Because unless they have their bigs up and even showing, he's almost always going to get these looks. So I wonder what their coverage is going to be. Are they still going to have him kind of up in that drop, or are they going to have him commit to the rock and allow the roll to transpire? And then right here, same thing, quick drag. Look at this. Now it's just with the second unit. So now it's Cornet. They come down. Mitch Robb, he flips and just cleans up Harp. And now he's turned a corner clean. He's in a drop. He steps into the tray. I just don't know how they're going to defend this. because he's one of the best screeners in the league. He's always going to clean up Brunson's defender, no matter who it is. Because Dill Harp even sees this. Because he opens up right here, looking to chase over, and he just gets cleaned. There's nothing he can do. And right here, Kornet, he's going to drop. And because of how high this ball screen is, he's retreating. He's still there to get a decent contest, but this is all in rhythm from Brunson. He's stepping into this. Look at that. Now we're back at Hart. So again, Wemby, he's matched up with Castle's on Brunson. Vassell's on Towns, but realistically, it doesn't matter 1 through 4. They can switch everything. As long as Wemby's on Hart, it's fine. So right here, now he's forced to make a decision. Gapping him crazy, not concerned about him. They decide, get a stagger for McHale. Fox, he chases over 2, but he's beat. And look at Wemby. No respect. He sees it, immediately just peels onto McHale. And even here, look at Fox. No respect for Hart. He should be peeling off onto Hart here just because Wemby should have this contained. But he just continues chasing. Just no care. Even here, he got great positioning. Cuts off Wemby's recovery line by going inside. And now he's got inside positioning, but he's still scared. Even with a full extension scoop, he's afraid Wemby could just pin off glass. So now he's stuck. Overhelps. Even here, Carl, he sees that he's stuck. Tries to face cut. Vassell's not even concerned. Flashes right in front of his face. But now this is a shot that the Spurs want. Make it difficult for everybody else and force him into a dare shot. And unless Hart just continues making this at a high clip, or he's able to exploit the space that the Spurs are giving him, they're going to continue assigning Wemby onto him. And now we've still got Wemby on Hart, and right here, Castle, he's on Brunson, because they've got Keldon out there. And this is another thing the Spurs like to do. Whenever Keldon's out there with Carl, they'll just match him up with him, because he's a big guard. Stefan's also a big guard, but if they can, they'll just put him on him. Now you've got him on Brunson, and Wemby can stay assigned to Hart. Right here, Hart, he's going to try and flare him, stays attached, he's able to chase over, hit him, quick BP, nope, chase over, deny the handoff. Now they've blown all that up. Nothing, and now he's got to attack Wemby in space, dare shot, and he airs. And again, unless Hart can be an efficient hub or make these shots at a high clip or somehow just exploit the space, they are not concerned about this type of cross-matching because they've got big guards in Stefan and Keldon that they're going to put on Carl. Now we've got another ball screen from Hart. And right here, I think this is what we're probably going to see. Fox on Brunson, Vassell on McHale, and Stefan on Carl. But it really doesn't matter 1 through 4 because they just really want to have Wemby matched up with Hart just to do all this. So now he's forced to still be the screener. He tries a snake. Of course, Wemby, he's going to help contain the rock. He stabs. And now all Brunson can do, behind the back, hit him on that pop. And he's actually going to go and catch instead of a dare shot. And I think the reason he's able to do this is because right here, Wemby decides to stab at the rock. But he really didn't have to because he's already allowed Fox to get back in front. So just back off, allow him to get back in front, and look to retreat. But because he stabs here, and instead of making a throwback, it's an immediate behind the back, now he's out of position. Now Hart's able to go and catch, attack him, and beat him to the spot. Quick lay. And now with the second unit, the same thing applies. Look who Kornet's matched up with. Josh Hart, Stefan, still on Carl, forcing him to be the screener. So now obviously off this quick handoff, Cornet's just going to help contain the rock, right? Allow Drew to recover, but he bites on that pump, flyby, and instead of retreating, nope, he's going to pull in, give up that spray line, dare shot, and he makes it. So again, this is going to be on Josh Hart to make these shots, these dare shots, or to somehow beat the big off the dribble when they gap him crazy. So now we've got a double drag, but it's really going to be one ball screen into another. And because the Spurs got 3 guards, what does that mean? 3-way switch. So right here, Vassell, he's going to release. Champagny, he's going to take the rock. And I think he's even communicating it. Red, red, red. So he's telling him we're switching that. And now we've got Carl looking for the ball screen. And look at Stephon. He's going to point switch with Champagny. And that's why they want him on Carl. Because now anytime he's a screener, they're just going to read it. And if he slips through, look who the low man is. They got Wemby there to help. But right here, Carl actually sets a great screen. Champagny doesn't really see it. He's trying to open up, chase over, and just gets clipped. So what does that mean? Carl's now got inside positioning on a slip. And at the same time, look at Josh Hart. He reads this. So what does he do? Immediate flash. And now there's a high-low. But this is a very difficult situation for Wemby. Why? Because look at that strong side. So as this high-low is transpiring on this weak side, there's a blind pig transpiring on that strong side. And that's why Wemby's communicating with Fox here. Because he's obviously looking to deny the pass. He won't see this flash. So he's trying to tell him, yo, blind pig. But because he's so concerned about that, he doesn't even realize that on this weak side, there's a high-low coming. And that's all Josh Hart sees too. He actually doesn't even look for this blind pig. He wanted to flash for the high-low. He gets it. Now Wemby's late because he's trying to communicate about that blind pig. So by the time he sees it, he's way too high. Quick punch. That was a really nice play, honestly, by Josh Hart. Because he read that right there on that flash. So if the Spurs are going to cross-match, instead of just trying to use Hart for the screening actions, they can just go right here. Because even though Stephon is a big guard, Carl's still a big at the end of the day. So he's got an inherent size advantage. So this is automatically a mismatch. And they actually do tilt it. So now you can get 2 on the rock whenever you find them. And right here, this is a great situation and alignment for the Knicks because look where Hart is. He's on the weak wing. So now he's high man, he's low man. He obviously wants to tilt. So he's trying to communicate with Fox. Yo, switch with me. But by the time he's able to even switch, because they threw it into space, and Stephon wasn't ready to put a body and fight for positioning and even front that. Now it's just a quick catch, rip base, go, and there's no tilt. And you can see Stephon has his hands up. Where's the help? Right? Because of this alignment right here and them going early. But this is definitely an advantage to exploit because they have to tilt. So you're going to have 2 on the rock, and Carl's gotten very good at passing. So now you just got to play your backside advantage. And even right here, let's say Wemby is there. You can see he's trying to set this hammer, flare him off to the wing. Fox has to play 2. Maybe there's a spray line. If he jumps it, spray line to the corner. And now we've got another mismatch, right? OG, he made that entry. Look at Wemby. He's trying to help. So now we got Stephon on Carl, a mismatch, and right here another mismatch. So they find it. Reverse pivot, face up, high rip, and now he's looking to bully. And look at this. So Josh, he's going to empty out to that weak side. But look at Wemby. He's trying to communicate to Stephon, whoever, yo, I'm going to tilt this. And this is another advantage, right? Because whenever they have these size advantages and they're looking to exploit it in the post, Wemby's always going to be tilting. And now look at that. You find him, great cut out the corner, and you score. And instead of settling, and this is also a really good play by OG because Wemby's looking to tilt, so you want to keep him on a baseline. And even here, Fox, he's trying to get on his high side, but he can't. And now you get middle, and you're attacking away from the double. So now he's out of position, so as he cuts, look at Wemby. He can't get there in time. And obviously Stephon, he can't really do anything. If he helps up, it's a drop-off, or Carl's just going to clean up. So I think, not just for Carl, but anytime they have some sort of size advantage, they should try to force a tilt, draw two, play the advantage, or create something like this. So now this is a possession where the Spurs do everything right in terms of their game plan. So right here, Brunson and Carl, they tried to get to a two-man game. Castle switched on to him. He switched on to him. So what does that mean for the Knicks? They got to find this because this is a very clear size advantage. So he's going to swing across court, look for the entry, and look at this. So Fox does the right thing. He's going to get in front, get low, and look to front. At the same time, Wemby, he's going to pull in to deny the pass over top. And even if he makes that pass over top and they don't get a deflection, let's say, it's going to be an immediate tilt as soon as he brings the rock down, if he can bring the rock down. So Mikal reads that, and he decides, nope, I'm going to skip to the weak corner. And this is exactly what the Spurs want. So not only do they blow up this two-man game by switching, they also deny any chance of the Knicks looking to exploit this size advantage. And you get it to the player that you wanted to. That's why they leave him butt naked in that corner. And even here, Champagnie, he's not even going to close out. And you force him into a dare shot. So again, it's going to be on Josh Hart to make these shots if you want to force the Spurs to adjust their game plan. And now another advantage I think the Knicks are going to have is Diawara. Because the Spurs are going to try and give him the Josh Hart treatment. So they're going to have Wemby just cheat off and play free safety and give him those open looks from deep. But the difference is he's a stretch big that can shoot. And he's willing to shoot. And he's got the ultimate green light. So if he can make these looks when Wemby's helping off, they're going to have to second guess that game plan against him. And that's why I think he's going to be important when he's out there. So right here, Carl, he rejects the inverted ball screen. He's not really low man, but he's low enough to where he can rotate. Fox, he's not even really looking to play two. Quick little stun, he falls back. But just look how disrespectful they are. He's not really concerned. He's not even looking to get back. And this is something I can see them going to. So now he's making that post entry, looking to exploit this inherent mismatch. And this is going to be their all series if the Spurs decide to cross match. So that's an advantage, again, they can go to every time down. And right here, look at Wemby. All the way off Diawara's body because he's ready to tilt it. It's kind of late here because I can see he's going to make the rotation. But right here, Carl, face up, rip base. And now he's looking to rotate. Most times, he would already be here, flooding it so that he can't even make a move. And you force him off the rock early. But right here, maybe because of OG looking to fill that weak dunker, he's trying to communicate with Fox, so he wants him to get there before he leaves and makes that rotation. Right here, he's still there in time. What does that mean? He's going to spray to that weak slot. You can see Fox, because he's taking away the drop-off, he's not ready to play two. Champagnie could, and even here, Champagnie, he does the same thing that Fox did, where it's a quick little stunt and fall. They're just not concerned about him being butt naked and getting these wide open looks from deep. So now he gets the one dribble, rhythm, set your feet, and even here, Wemby. He's slowly getting out. There's no sense of urgency. He does that cornet thing. And even here, loose ball foul because he just can't box out Carl. So there's just two advantages here that I can see him exploiting. So now we've got another example. And look at Wemby. Just no respect for Diawara. He could really just take one dribble and pull. Because all Wemby wants to do is make sure there's no pass over top or some sort of backdoor. And even right here, off this handoff, Diawara could actually just set a rescreen. Because Wemby's all the way in the paint, so it'd be a 2-on-1. So he cleans up Castle. Alvarado comes off clean. Wide open look from deep. Right here, he swings. And Carl does the right thing. He's going to look to seal Vassell here. And Vassell also does the right thing. He's going to get low, look to front, deny the entry. And this is a bit awkward for Wemby because ideally he wants to be where Fox or Barnes is because he wants to be the low man. So if the pass is made over top, he can deflect it. Or if he catches the pass, now Wemby's there to immediately tilt. But because he's in front of Carl, he's kind of doing the same thing as Vassell. Just denying and fronting him. And Diawara sees that as a sign to pull. Because him gapping him here is kind of too much overhelping. So maybe this is another advantage that the Knicks can look to exploit. Not just the size advantage they have with Carl from all the cross-matching. And not just the shooting. But having him make the entry. Because now you take him away from being the low man and helping from that backside. Him gapping is just awkward. So now I'm going to go through one last example. So right here again, two-man game. What is Wemby doing? Helping contain the rock. No care for this role at all. As long as they stop Brunson. But now on that soft miss, he misses to the weak side. And because Wemby helped contest, now he's wide open. Secures the O board. Dribbles out, quick swing, pitch, hand back, he goes under. Tracy. And this is an advantage that Josh could look to exploit because even though this is in a scramble, most times Wemby's going to be so far off his body and so low that whenever he's finding these uphill or downhill DHOs, he's going to create a 2-on-1. This is what Dre does for Steph. So I can see this happening. So if he's able to play the hub and not just take those dare shots and just keep playing side to side, nothing on that first side, play the second side, and so forth, I think he can create flow for them because, again, Carl's not going to be able to really be the hub because of Castle being on him. But then even that's another advantage. So if they don't really find an advantage through Hart because of this cross match, at least they have this. Alright. So if I were to quickly summarize both teams' advantages, starting with the Spurs, I'd say the first would be Wemby's pin downs, just because of how much Mitch, Rob, and Carl struggled to navigate those. So I could even see the Spurs running more inverted ball screens for Wemby, just to really test those two in their feet. But we'll see. And if they're not doing that, then it's probably going to be a lot of three-man actions. The same stuff they're running against the Thunder, because they're usually creating advantages out of those. And because the Knicks are probably going to match up traditionally, now they're going to bring Carl into the action, and they're going to bring Brunson into the action, because they're going to use Champagnie as the pop threat, and Wemby as the roll threat. And then for the Knicks, I'd say their advantages start with Brunson. And first is going to be his high ball screens, because I think the Spurs are going to keep their bigs either up or in a drop. But I don't see him being any higher with their levels. So whenever he comes off one, he's going to turn the corner clean, and he's stepping into these wide open looks from deep. And that's not something the Spurs had to really defend much of. And then the second advantage would be the inherent size advantage that Carl has, because the Spurs are going to switch 1 through 4, and he's already got Castle matched up with them. So if they don't tilt, he's scoring. And if they do tilt, he's got 2 on the rock, and now you play the backside advantage. And then the third advantage would be Diawara, just because he's a stretch big. He's got a green light, he's willing to shoot, and he's confident when he shoots. And that's just a different look compared to Josh Hart. So when Wemby decides to play free safety and just Andrew Bogut him, he's not going to be scared to pull. And he can make them, as he's shown. So I expect him to get a good amount of burn. And just because of the advantages the Knicks have, I was leaning Spurs just because of home court, and I do think they're a better team. But I think just the matchup and what the Knicks can look to exploit versus Spurs, I think the Knicks might have this in 7. And I never thought I'd say that.